All right, so well, we've had this exciting time. We've been doing, you guys, this last weekend has been busy and it's been chaotic, and we did camping this last weekend, or on Friday night we went camping, and I really want to touch on something about that. Thank you very much. Is that, you know, we did this as like a big church effort. We did a big community type thing where we did community meals, and we did a whole bunch of different things that come together as a group. You know, it was awesome just because really everybody brought some food. We had tons of food left over. We had, you know, and everybody brought a few things, and we had stuff. It's like, oh man, for lunch we were doing, you know, we do hot dogs, we do hamburgers all over again. We had everything left over. It was really a great time. But really, two key people for this whole thing, you know, they volunteered to do all the cooking. They brought pots and pans. They brought the stove. They brought everything. There's John and Susan here. They really did a great job. Completely self-sacrificial for everything they gave and giving their time and everything. It was really, thank you very much. We really appreciated it. It was really an awesome experience to kind of be able to come together. You know, let me tell you something. Last night was really awesome because as we were starting the night before last, it was awesome because there was 4 of us sitting at a table, or 5 of us sitting at a table, and guess what? Nobody had their cell phone. Nobody was out there trying to text somebody. Nobody was trying to do an update on Facebook. It's because you couldn't. I mean, you were unable to do it at that point. And but what it led to was great conversation. You guys know what that's about? It's having a conversation with the person next to you and spending time talking. Man, is anybody else hot in here? It's hot. Yeah, I'm going to be sweating here in a second. This is going on. But we had this great, there was conversation. It was people coming together and being a community again. It wasn't, hey, let's do an update on Facebook to see how so-and-so is doing. No, we were talking about it. It was awesome. It was one of those things that we forget that we have the ability to do is talk to one another. You know, we go, I can do an update on Facebook, see how everybody's doing. No. It was great. Conversation. It was just one of those things that were lacking in life. So, what we did do is on yesterday we did witness baptisms, and I'm going to tell you right now is that if your photo pops up here, it probably isn't the best of you. You were coming out of the water, or you were getting ready to go in the water, or something along those lines, and you may not be happy about it. So we did 6 baptisms yesterday at Lake Solano. And if you guys don't know, the water at Lake Solano comes out very cold. It goes from underneath Lake Marietta, and it comes out, and it's a brisk 45 degrees. You know, it's nice. It really is. It's refreshing. That's what I was told 3 or 4 times over the weekend. It's refreshing. So, our first photo is, isn't that amazing? Isn't that Jay coming up out of the water? And this is, Jay's making, she's coming in, she said, you know what, that's ready for me. It's time for me to come out. So it's great. It's awesome. Who's next?
Susan.
Hold on.
Just arrow down. Hit the arrow down button.
There you go.
There we go. Oh, so yeah, they're not all, even me. I look at this thing and go, man, do I look that big? Holy cow. What do we got next? Oh, see, this is him coming out of the water going, it burns, my nose hurts right now. What's next? And this is him going, this is going to be bad. It's so bad. I mean, he's going down, and the water's cold, he knows it's cold, and here it comes. What's the next one? Oh, he was in the water for the hour prior to us doing this. He's like, what are you waiting on? Hurry up. And who's next? And then Matt. Where's Matt at? Matt's back here. So Matt, by the way, if you guys who don't know, Matt has like a fear of the water. Okay, so don't get him wet. It's just not one of those things that he appreciates. But he took this challenge. He went to this lake, and it's completely out of his element in order to renew himself. It was an awesome experience for him. It really was. So, as a congratulations to Mac on 2 points. 1, he's been baptized, and 2, he was trying to overcome fear, and he did that with the support of the people that were there. So that's awesome. You guys, you see, we had this awesome experience, and we're going to do it again. We're trying to plan it. It may be, we got so many other activities going on, and I think what we're looking at doing is is doing a Tahoe trip. I think we're going to get a couple cabins, and I think we're going to do a Tahoe trip and do something along those lines. So and it'll be like a snow trip, go to a snow park on the next day, and we'll really get some cold baptisms going then.
I'm not going to be the first one.
But we're going to dive back into this. Critical people. Now, how many guys have ever dealt with somebody really critical? Everything about them is always just negative. Sometimes we call them like a negative Nancy, or if your name is Nancy, I really apologize for that. But it's just that negative thing. You're like, it's always this is bad, this is, it's always one thing after another. You're like, oh man, do you have a positive thing to say at all? I mean, I would just love to hear something come out and say, good job. I mean, I had a parent like that. I never heard anything positive from her. It was always, why did you steal the car? Or why did you do this? And, a lot of that was my fault. I wasn't doing all of that stuff. But I heard all those negative things coming in. She would always go, why are you doing this? And what's wrong with you? And I'm like going, I don't know. You're raising me. What's wrong with me? But even when we look throughout the Old Testament or throughout the Bible, look at Moses. Moses, this isn't in your notes, or this isn't on anything that you're going to come up with. Aaron and Miriam come to Moses and they go, we don't like you married. She's bad. And they come up and they go, I can't believe you married that person. What is wrong with you? You look at this is probably my best one. This is funny. Have you guys ever read Acts 20? And Paul's in the middle. Paul was long-winded. Okay, he had a lot to say. He wasn't very concise. And in Acts 20, he's really talking about him. He was talking so long, and it was overnight. It was in the middle of the night. He was talking, and there was a little kid in the window. A little kid in the window, and he's talking so long, this kid passes out and falls out of the window. At least I've never done that, guys. Come on, my preaching ain't that bad. I haven't made anybody fall out of a window. But he goes, really, when you look at it, people thought he was boring, and he was criticized for it. People came out and they go, hey, and in 2 Corinthians, they come out and Paul was criticized for being a bad speaker. But the guy wrote so much of the Bible. Look at, when you read it, the guy wrote most of the New Testament. He was long-winded. He had a lot to say. He had a lot of stuff going on. But he had the gift of writing. That's really what he had. He didn't have the gift of talking. And then really what's most important, when you start looking at Jesus, and Jesus was criticized all the time. He was really, as people came up to him and they go, why are you healing on Sabbath? Why are you meeting with sinners? Why are you doing this? What is wrong with you? It was all the time. Everybody always said, why are you doing that and what is wrong with you? And what's amazing is that we all face these same types of issues. People go, why do you have 3 kids? You don't even like the first 2 that you had. Why do you have 3? That's what comes out. Why does this? Why are you a pastor? Why do you do this? Why did you go to that school? Why did you go to San Francisco State? I thought it was a good school and it was cheap, man. I don't know. What's wrong with you? Well, why didn't you go to my school? Or why didn't you go here? Or why didn't you go there? It's always these things that we face, these battles that come up, and we always have to deal with. People always look at it and go, why didn't you do what I wanted you to do? Why didn't you follow my instructions? You guys deal with it too. You might go to a person at work, and they might question you, they make fun of your faith in God. They come out and they go, why are you a Christian? Being a Christian is boring. You gotta live a life that's uneventful. Why are you doing that? And I tell you, it's completely opposite, because I think we have a better time than anybody else. We go out, and we're part of our communities, and I think that we just, I don't think life's boring, and I don't think it's supposed to be boring. Or, how about this? You guys have this at home? You guys have a spouse that always goes, why are you doing that? Why isn't the house clean? Why isn't this done? Why is it that you're not taking care of that? Why is it that our kids, why is it that I'm the only one taking care of the kids? Why is it that why are you so worthless? You get to that point. And sometimes you look at it and go, I don't know, why not? What's going on? What's the deal? Maybe it was lazy. You guys know I'm lazy, so. You know, it's our parents, you know, and sometimes, you know, you guys ever have how many of you guys have seen the Abraham Lincoln commercial where, you know, it's like Skype or something like that, and he comes out and she goes, his wife goes, does this dress make my butt look big? And he looks at her, you know, can you imagine if we were all like, you know, he goes, no, he never lies. You know, but I mean, that's how, sometimes we get these criticisms at home where, you know, where wives want that. Does this make me look fat? No, you look great now. Let's go outside. Come on. You know, and really, sometimes they really want your honest opinion. You know, or something. You know, what happens when we are gaining weight? Like me, when I met my wife, I was 60 pounds lighter. Can you imagine me 60 pounds lighter? I probably look funny, huh? I look funny fat too. But I mean, that's where I'm at right now. But I mean, 60 pounds lighter, I just looked different. I was just different. So I mean, she has the very right to go, hey, why are you getting fat? You know, what's wrong with you? And she does it because I think you're beautiful the way you are. And, you know, I mean, that's just kind of, you know, you see how that loving kind of relationship can be there? Even though I know she's lying to me, going, I am fat. I know that. Don't worry about that. You know, what about your family? Your family's going to say, they go, why are you spending money on that? And they criticize everything you're doing. Why'd you buy that? You know, or why aren't you spending money on this? Or why aren't you going there? Or why are you giving 10% to the church? What's wrong with you? What are you thinking? What's wrong? You know, or other, you know, how about even other Christians? Why aren't you married yet? What's wrong with you? Why are you 35 and single? Because I enjoy being single, that's why. You know, I mean, what do you think? Because I've heard all the problems that you have when you're married. That's why I'm single. You know, there's everywhere we go, there's different criticisms. There's everywhere. You know, and what we're going to talk about, a couple things, and we're going to talk about how to deal with this stuff. But the first thing we have to deal with before we can dive into dealing with all that, the negative criticism, is that one we have to deal with is that we can never ignore the value of constructive criticism. You can never ignore the value. You can never have that was supposed to come up.
Oh, sorry.
So, that one, we can never ignore that value. We can't just go, hey, let me just give this up. And this is one for the take down on your notes. We cannot ignore that value. We have to be able to, you know, it tells us in Proverbs, it says, if you listen to constructive criticism, you'll be at home among the wise. If you reject criticism, you only harm yourself. You know, I will tell you, is that as I walk out of here, every day, every Sunday after service, the first thing I do is I go to a few people and I go, how was it? What'd you guys think? And I'm looking for positive. I'm looking for feedback. I'm looking for positive feedback. It's really what I'm looking for. But I will take any sort of feedback. But I go to a few key people and I go, hey, what'd you think? Did I get everything? Was it funny enough? Guys, because if it's not relevant, and if I'm up here boring you, then you're going to be back there doing whatever else, sleeping. I mean, you know, so I understand it. So what I try to do is I try to make sure that I get constructive criticism. I talk to people, hey, what needs to be fixed? You know, we had this discussion last week, where sometimes I go a little too far, and they tell me, hey, tone it back a little bit. Or, you should go in depth more here. I like when you talk about this. Or, you know, there's just different things. I've been looking for that. We should do the same thing. We should be looking for that constructive criticism. Now, I will tell you, is that not all criticism is constructive. We know that, right? We know that sometimes we're dealing with people and you go, what is wrong with you? You know, why are you doing that? And it's not constructive. It's actually destructive. We actually go in, and instead of trying to help somebody, we break them down even more. And we have to change that. You know, one of those things that I'm really bad at, if you've ever sat through a meeting with me, like my staff does, I'll pick up my phone, I'll doodle. I mean, I look like I'm unattentive in your thing. And that's not really the case. I'm actually paying attention. Just in my mind, I've got this ADHD problem, and my mind wanders. I'm like over here sometimes. So I need something to kind of focus while I'm dealing with, you know, whatever we got going on. But it really seems like I'm not paying attention to what you have to say, and it makes it to where you're not important. And and that's not the case. But it's been pointed out to me. It's somebody came out and said, hey, when I'm talking to you, I really want you to pay attention to me. You know, I really want you to, you know, let's interact a little bit. That's what constructive, you know, hey, let's have a dialogue. Don't just sit there and ignore. You know, how do you guys feel when your kids, or when you have kids, and your kids, You're trying to talk to them, you're trying to discipline them, and they're like, I want that toy right there. I want that one. I want to get that one. And they're like, look at me. Look at me. I'm trying to talk to you. They're like, no, that toy over there. Sometimes we're just kind of off in our own little world sometimes. That's how we are as kids. That's how we are as adults sometimes too. I don't want to talk to you right now. I want that toy because that toy seems more interesting than you. We just have to move on. But here we're going to deal with some unjust criticism. And how will we deal with it? And here's the first prayer. God, help me know when to respond to criticism. This is a prayer. God, help me when to know when to respond to it. Okay, sometimes we don't need to respond to it. Sometimes when somebody says something, because our first thing that we do when somebody says something, what? You're ugly. What are you talking about? You call me fat? Oh. The first thing we do is we dive in and we go on the attack mode. We dive right into it and we go, what are you talking about? I am paying attention to you. I'm just doodling at the same time. We have to know when to respond. And it tells us right now, when you read Judges 8, when you kind of get in, now, he goes, why have you treated us like this? And they criticized him sharply. But he answered them. They were arguing. They were having this fight. And they challenged him. They were challenging him vigorously, is what it says, and we read that's the NLT. So, if you like translations, it's pretty good. What did I get done? He looks at him and he goes, hey, back up. He goes, what have I done? He said, what did I get to? And he goes, look at things here. You have better food. You have better things going on. Things are better here. Why don't you calm down? Don't come and argue with me. Yeah, things are a little different. Things are not exactly what you want. Well, look at things are better. He looks at it and goes, look, we have better food. God gave us, He just let the Midianites into our hands. And in the next line they go, and it's Judges 8:3. When they heard his answer, they were angry no longer. Guys, we get criticized all the time as a church. All the time we get criticized. Why do you guys exist? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? Why is it, guys, I will tell you, we get criticized on a regular basis for being an outward-focused church. We are not focused on the inside of this building. We are focused on dealing with our community and dealing with people, and that's what matters to us. Really, we can sit here and we go, hey, we want to build everybody up in here, and that's what we want to do. And we employ a pastor that does that. He's in charge of spiritual development. He's in charge of getting people into different groups. We employ somebody who does that. But what we need to do is we need to be able to go out and reach our community and bring them in here so we can actually do that. If we just sit here and we go, all we're going to worry about is the spiritual development of the people in here, we are never ever going to be doing what we're called to do as Christians. We're never ever going to be doing. Jesus told us go out. He never said, hey, let's hang out in a room and let's just party and let's grow each other. No, let's go out, let's reach the community, let's reach every person we can. And we're criticized for that. We're criticized. People go, why would you be out doing events on Easter? What? What do you mean, why are we doing events on Easter? What do you mean, why are we doing different events? Why are we doing it? Because that's what Jesus told us to do. But we get angry about it, and you can tell that the way we do things, people criticize it. They look at it and go, you're doing something different. And I don't like that. Why aren't you doing the normal church thing? Why aren't you doing this 5-point thing and this, and this, and why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you doing the 101 classes and 201? Why aren't you doing all that stuff? Because I don't believe that's what we're called to do. I don't believe that's what we're called to do. And I haven't got any decisions right now. So, because I believe that we're called to do some other stuff. Now, I have people go, hey, why do you drive that 98 Volvo? Because I own it. That's why. I drive that 98 Volvo because I don't have a payment on it. I own it. Why do you, they always go, why do you do this? And we have the option. We can respond angrily and go, and we can say something very negative back to them. Or we can just say, you know what? I'm just going to ignore that. Just like we don't respond to the criticism we receive from other churches or from other people. We just ignore them. We just move on. We know what we're called to do. We we know what we're called to be. And we're just going to continue plugging away at what we know. And I will tell you, is that with our board, and we come to this decision that that's what we're going to do. We're going to be an outward bound church. And if that means that we spend every dime to do it and we never end up in a building, so be it. We'll be in the community center forever. You know, I will tell you guys, we will do everything we can to reach it. And if we're criticized for that, then now we're doing something right. And we're doing something right. You know, number 2, and this is where we're living, right into, God help me know when to dismiss invalid criticism. And that's it right then. Help me know when to dismiss invalid criticism. Guys, not everything is constructive, we know that. You know, I mean, for me, if you came to me and said, hey, Mike, gain some weight, let's go to the gym and work out. That's constructive criticism, because that's true. Because I'm up here sweating right now, I'm not working. You know, I mean, granted, the light's a little warm, but guys, I know that. I know. You know, I will tell you is that if you hear the same thing from 15 people, there's probably some valid criticism. But if you only hear it from 1 or 2 people, or you hear it from people, you know, I mean, like if I came up here and I said something that offended one person in here but made everybody else was just passionate about outreach in our community, then you know what? That one person, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I offended you, but really as a group, we know what direction we have to go. So sometimes we have to dismiss that as being invalid. Sometimes we have to move on. We just have to go, you know what, this is not relevant to what the bigger mission is. You know, what's going on? You know, and when we look at it, and when you read into it, and when you read 1 Peter 2:23, because when they hurled insults at him, he did not retaliate. When he suffered, he made no threats. Instead, he trusted himself to judge justly. You know, we can hear these insults, we can hear things, we can hear that they just continue over and over again. We can hear things that just naked. And sometimes we respond to that stuff and we try and make changes when really it's not people who judge us. It's not. It's God. And if we're doing what God has called us to do, then we're doing but what does it matter what people say? You know, it's something like this on the radio. You guys will, you know, for you guys, you'll love this. Because we'll be driving down the road and she's like, I gotta put my makeup on. Why? You look great just the way you are. Why? It just makes me feel better. Who are you trying to impress? What are you worried about? You know, why? I'm with you. I'm not going anywhere. You know, let's hang out together. You don't worry about anybody else. You know, or a couple weeks ago, we bought season passes to Raging Waters. Okay, I mean, it was by day. It wasn't like we went out and spent a whole bunch of money because we don't have a whole bunch of money to spend. So we just went out and said, hey, let's just do this season, even though we get this season pass, and we went up there. But, you know, I'll tell you, our first trip up there cost us 3-4 times the amount of money of the season passes because we had to go buy new bathing suits, we had to go buy all this different stuff. And I go, what's wrong with the bathing suits you have? Yeah, I'm not going to look very good in that. To who? Who are you worried about? No, what are you worried about? I'm right here. I hate to tell you something. I've seen you naked once or twice. I know what it looks like. You know, I mean, who are you trying to impress? It's one of those things you look at and you go, sometimes we have our mind and we're worried about the wrong person. We're so worried about what others think rather than what the one who truly matters thinks. That's what we need to worry about. We don't need to worry. What does it worry? What does it matter? We're at the state fair where there's 5,000 people you're never going to see again in your life. What does it matter what they think? What does that make it bigger? Does that really, you look at it and go, oh man, that person thinks that I have one too many freckles in my face. Guys, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It's just one of those things we need to learn how to just worry about what God says and what He matters and what He thinks and what He judges us. It's not about faith. But we all have things that we criticize and look at ourselves and we go, man, that sucks or this sucks or whatever it is. You know, why is it that we get so worried about putting other people's opinions in front of our own even sometimes? Because when you walked out of the house, you thought you looked pretty good that day. You know, when you walked out of the house, when you looked in the mirror, you're like, yeah, this is good. And you walked out, you know, most of the time I have to go to my wife. Does this look all right? Because I'm colorblind, apparently. You know? I mean, that's just how it is. I always have to ask her. Especially if I'm in front of you guys, because you guys are going to be the ones who critique me and judge me. So I ask her, hey, what do you think? Does this look alright? Yeah, that looks good. And she'll sometimes tell me, no, you gotta change. You look like a clown. But usually when we walk out the door, when we walk out of our house on a regular basis, we usually think we look alright. So what does it matter what somebody else thinks? What does it matter when somebody else comes and goes, man, that is ugly. What are you doing? You know, what does that matter? You know, how is it that their opinion matters more than what your own opinion matters? Sometimes it's just kind of dumbfounding. You know, when we just get into it, we just look at it and go, man, that's just out there. You know, I was trying to see if I wanted to go into this next verse, but I think we do. You know, sometimes it says, for as we speak as messengers who have been approved by God, being entrusted with the good news, our purpose is to please God, not you. You know, I mean, really, our purpose is to please God, not you. You know, I mean, we can worry about it all the time. We can, you know, the video I showed before we started service and before Jason came up and did our announcements, the video showed, and it talks about our life is just but a vapor. You know, we have very little time to do what God has asked us to do. And it's not a lot that He asked us. He didn't come out and go, hey, here's a whole bunch of stuff, and here's a whole bunch of stuff to put on your plate. I mean, He did give us 2 really hard things to do. He did. And He gave us, He goes, hey, I want you to go out, and I want, you know, well, first He goes, love me. I go, oh, that's the easy one. Love God, that's easy. And then He comes out and He goes, and then love everybody else. And then love your neighbor. And all of a sudden they were like, oh, man. I gotta go love that dude, or that person, or that person? It's like, no. I mean, guys, it's tough. It's hard. But really, if we don't do the second one of loving our neighbor, we're really never doing the first one. We're just not. We're just not loving God. We're so on the point where we're like, hey, I don't care about them. So obviously, I don't care about you. You know, I mean, guys, we have to change the way we think about things sometimes. You know, we look at what's the slam dunk for the first one. It's easy. But really, if we can't accomplish the second one, then it's not. You know, we can't accomplish just loving each other. You know, so our purpose is to please God. And that means by loving on people and helping them grow. And we did that yesterday. By helping people get through things and accomplish different things that they're going through in their spiritual growth. And the first one is getting them in touch with God. You know, that's tough. It really is. You know, especially when this next one is, and this last is our third note, he comes up and he goes, God, help me overcome my own critical nature. You know, guys, I will tell you is that I'll be driving along on my way to church on Sunday mornings. And sometimes, you know, we have to go do stuff, and I'm driving past people, and they have the golf clubs in the car. And I'm going, I cannot believe you're going to go play golf on the day that you're supposed to spend with the Lord. That's just really making me jealous. You know? It's just really good. You know, but I mean, you know, we do the same thing with other people. I mean, we criticize people all the time. We drive along, and we don't really know what they're doing. We don't know if they went to church last night. We don't know if they went to church, or they're going to go to an evening service tonight, or they're going to go to an afternoon service, or we don't know what they think. But our first assumption, or my first assumption, is, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you in church? We're just being rude, without even knowing, being critical. That's just what we do on a regular basis. We have to remember that we are all those people. You know, in Proverbs 12 it tells us, some people make cutting remarks, but the words of the wise bring healing. You know, guys, I mean, we can go out and we can do so much. We can talk negative, and we can do all these negative things. And we can talk bad about people, and we can criticize them. But I will tell you is that we've all said it time and time again. We've all heard it. Your actions speak louder than words. What are you doing? Are you out loving them? Are you out being part of your community? Are you out trying to help? Are you out trying to do something that's beneficial to the people around you? Or all you're doing is going, what is wrong with you? Why is it that you're not in church? Why is it that you dress that way? Why is it that you do this? Why is it that you do that? Or all we're doing is being negative. All we're doing is being critical. And we're not accomplishing the real task that's set before us. And that's just by being positive and doing what God has called us to do. By loving people, loving God, and just being very, guys, we can help people grow. We can help them. Or we can be critical and just knock them backwards. And we can put them down in this rut and we can just make them go, yep, enjoy that. In order to make ourselves feel better. Really, I will tell you is that the greatest, you guys ever been, if you have kids and you've gone through Christmas, you know that the greatest joy is giving. And anytime that we ever do anything, when we give to our community and we give out food and we give and we provide candy and we just do these different events, anytime we do that, the smiles on these kids' faces, the joy that you see is so much better than doing anything otherwise. Than being able to go, hey, let's be negative now. Kids, your costume looks like crap. What's wrong with us? And I'm not saying that out here. We actually had a great time. But guys, that's the best thing. That's that joy right there. It really is. Guys, we're going to end in a word of prayer, and as we're doing that, our worship team, our worship pastors can come back up and lead us as we're going to take communion. It's the first Sunday of the month. And, guys, really it is, we are all those people. We are. And it takes this time for us to overcome those challenges and to come back and to look at it and go, it's time for me to become a positive person. It's time for me to change the way that I'm looking at stuff. It's just got to be different. It's got to be, I'm going to be a positive person. I'm going to be a positive person for my community. And I'm going to do what God has called me to do by loving others so that way I can prove that I actually love Him too. Guys, that's what we have to do. That's where we need to be in. So, let's bow our heads. Father, thank you so much for today. Thank you so much for the people that are here and the message that they heard. And just, God, thank you for helping us realize that we are all those people. And the different things that we went through. And the needy person, the hypocrite, the critical person. All these different things, guys. Thank you so much for helping us realize that we are all these people and those people and that we all need help and we all need change. And you want us to just love others and help them grow. God, as this series changes and we look at this new series called Perspective, God, help us learn that, we can't forget about being those people and we can't forget about just the life that we're doing right now and that we need to grow. That we need to change things, and God, we can criticize, or we can love, and we know that loving brings greater joy. And all this we pray in your Son Jesus Christ's name. Amen.